There must be something I can draw around here. Here's not a bad place. Ah, dropped my pencil. What is that? Oh. So this here is the Pentel Orenznero. Apparently this is a mechanical pencil so advanced that it was made by aliens. Or maybe even the Japanese. No, it was made by the Japanese. So this mechanical pencil has a combination of features that makes it pretty unique as far as I can see. One of which it has a lead size that it takes of 0.2 millimeters. That's tiny. I just can't even, that's ridiculous. Not only that, it's also more mechanically complex than most other mechanical pencils. So let's have a look at it, shall we? I'm about to touch it for the first time. Oh, okay. Interesting. You know, it's got a bit of weight to it. Especially, it's very, what point does it become balanced? More here? It's balanced there. So not exactly center. Let's see what kind of eraser it comes with. It's quite a long, that is quite a long eraser cover. Look how deep that goes in. And the eraser is, oh yes. Oh, it also comes with one of those little cleaning pins stuck on the eraser. That's very handy, especially for a 0.2 millimeter pencil. Now this grip is very impressive. Feels pretty grippy, right? But also the length of the grip. Look how much grip that is. This is the longest amount of grip I have ever seen on a mechanical pencil. Why can't they all make them like this? As someone who likes to draw with mechanical pencils, having this much grip all the way up the pencil is fantastic. Usually the grips end like about here. It almost looks more than half of the pencil is just grip. That is fantastic. To be honest, it's not the most grippiest grip I have ever gripped, but it is more than sufficient. And I keep on hearing that people think it's made out of metal, but then I read somewhere that it was made out of some kind of metal plastic composite. I think most of this pencil is made out of plastic, but it's like of a caliber which is so high quality. You're not going to complain about its build quality. It's really good. I love taking the eraser cap on and off. Feels so smooth and machined. Oh yes, look at that. But now it's time to look at this end, the business end. So according to what I've read, and you might be able to understand this clearly if you can read Japanese or whatever language this is in. So just like most Orenz mechanical pencils, you have this retractable lead sleeve which protects the lead from breaking. So the lead never actually protrudes beyond the lead sleeve. The lead sleeve constantly retracts while you're drawing with it. So it's always giving the lead support. That's just how it has to work because the lead is so thin it can't give itself any support. It's just too weak. But the Orenznero has this pretty cool feature where the lead holding sleeve actually springs back into place into its original position, also taking the lead with it. So it's actually a automatically feeding pencil as well. And that is something I just can't wait to try out. So, oh yes, it's working. Wow, that is a fine pencil line. So sharp. Fine. Feels like it's cutting into the paper almost. See if I can push the lead sleeve back and protrude the... Oh yes, there we go. Look at that. It really does work. Oh dear, I've done it now, haven't I? How am I going to put such fine lead back in there? I'm going to break the lead. Can I push it back in without breaking it? Oh dear. Oh yes, I'm doing it. Yes. Oh, I had to hold this part down to make it happen. Oh, look at that. It works like a normal mechanical pencil as well. Oh, I've really done it. Is this going to be impossible? If I can't put any shear force... Oh, no, I've done it. Oh, I've broken it. Oh, what an idiot I am. If I did that with a 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil, that would have been the easiest thing in the world. Maybe I can put it back in and it can be used later or something. If I can even pick it up. So tiny. Put it back in there. Oh, I broke the lead again. I forgot I had some protruding out the end here, and I went down to put pencil to paper again and just snapped off into who knows where. Another thing I have to know is the sleeve fully retractable? Can I retract the sleeve back in the body? Don't know if I can. Can I push it in somehow? Oh yes, that requires a bit of force, but it does stay back. So it's even pocket safe. Now let's click it back open. Ready to go. Yep, and it still works. Maybe I can do that with my thumbnail. Will that work? Yep, that's pretty good. It doesn't retract like all the way in, but plenty enough for it to be safe. Another thing I'm noticing about this pencil is that it does leave a texture on the surface of the paper because it's so fine. It really has this like embossing effect. Like I can feel most of the lines I've drawn on here. I wonder how it would fare on some like watercolor paper. Yep, no problem. And interesting, if I push it this way, sometimes it catches, makes a furrow, decides to go into needle injection mode. It made a hole in the paper because it was such a fine tipped point, and then it started injecting the lead beyond the piece of paper that it was drawing on. Got to be careful of that. Just don't push it that way, I guess. You'll end up poking through the paper. Well, not hard anyway, don't do it hard. Draw with it like this, not like this. Okay, now to give you more of a long-term review on the performance of this mechanical pencil, I'm going to draw with it for a couple of hours, and then I'll get back to you after that. I mean, so far I'm very impressed with the build quality and everything. But I can't deny it's a pretty expensive pencil, to be honest. I think it's at least 2.5 times the price, or maybe even 3 times the price, as the Pentel Graph Gear 1000, which is also a very fancy mechanical pencil. No one can deny that. Has no auto-advancing lead feature though. But it does have this cool retractable tip on it though. So what is the grip like? This one compared to the Graph Gear. So how easy is it to pull out of my hand? And what about the Orenznero? It's more difficult. Maybe the grip on the Nero is actually slightly better than the Graph Gear. I mean, the grip on the Graph Gear 1000 does look better. I never found it to be particularly perfect though. It's like they tried to do really good quality knurling here, but then they gave up halfway and they just stuck these rubber nubs in it to try and compensate for the lack of aggressive knurling. But these larger ridges, they do a pretty good job. It's a very simple and very effective design. The grip on the Nero is longer too. In fact, the whole body of the pen of the Orenznero is a lot grippier than the smoothed, polished metal of the Graph Gear 1000. Like, that gives me no grip at all. All the grip is here, which is pretty good. It's good grip. But if I wanted to, I could grip it all the way up here, you know. But why would you when this grip is so incredibly long? I have no idea. Okay, I said I was going to do some drawing with this, wasn't I? Okay, I better begin so I can tell you what it's really like. So now I'm back. Now I've been drawing with this pencil now for a little while, so I can now finally tell you what I truly think about it. I can give you a fair evaluation of its qualities and its problems, if it has any problems. It's actually pretty good. I spent a very long time trying to find something that was drastically wrong with this pencil, and I found some tiny little things which I wish were just a bit better, you know, but all round it's a fantastic pencil, really. This pencil basically has almost every feature I could ever want, really. I can't believe a mechanical pencil manufacturer has finally got the right idea with the length of grip they should put on a pencil, especially for artists and people who do more than just writing. Because you know, when you're writing, you're always holding the pencil like this. But when you're drawing, you can be holding the pencil like this or all the way up here. So as I've mentioned before, having a pencil with a great big long grip section on it is fantastic. Now, as for the actual quality of the grip, how grippy it actually is, as opposed to the length of it, I'm talking about the amount of friction it gives to your fingertips. I would rate this pretty high. I would say it has just as much grip as the Pentel Graph Gear 1000. Now, despite me saying that both of these pencils have very similar grip levels, the way the grip behaves is quite different because of the rubber on the Graph Gear. So if I was to squeeze the grip on the Graph Gear and then press down like this, at the point where the grip fails, it doesn't fail like instantly. Because of all the rubber, it just ends up slowly sliding down. But despite the grip being really excellent on the Pentel Orenznero, if I was to put a similar amount of pressure on the grip, at the point of failure, it doesn't just slide down, it just fails kind of catastrophically, basically. This one has excellent grip until the point of failure where it just kind of goes... Yeah, that's basically how good this pencil is. I have to be extremely picky to actually say anything bad about it. Yeah, so if there was anything I was going to change about this grip, it would be that I would make each individual section, each individual ring here that makes up the grip, I would make it just a bit sharper. Very edges, they're just slightly rounded. Pentel were probably trying to find some perfect balance between grip and comfort, which is a hard balance to strike when you're making grip out of a solid piece of material, which isn't like rubberized or something. Basically an unusually hard piece of plastic, some kind of extra heavy plastic with metal filings in it or something. Still would have made these tiny little edges here slightly sharper. But keep in mind, I am someone who would just complain about grips on pens and pencils until I'm basically holding a coarsely threaded bolt. But no, all up, this is a pretty nice grip. I'm quite happy with it. I can draw with it all day. Now let's talk about this end of the pencil here. The part where the lead comes out. That's a pretty important part, isn't it? Automatic feeding and 0.2mm with a retractable lead sleeve. And it also has, as I've recently found, see if you can see this, it's got some kind of form of shock protection as well. If I press down too hard on the paper, the lead sleeve retracts. So I don't know if that is a planned feature or it's some kind of side effect of having an automatic lead feeding mechanism in it, but it's still pretty good. And it retracts at also a pretty good pressure as well. Like, you would never actually discover it unless you were being unusually harsh or cruel with your mechanical pencils, so, which I was being, because I was trying to discover strange things about it. Hello, future me here. I just thought I might add that so-called shock protection I was just talking about. If you press down really hard, you will break and jam lots of lead inside the feed of the mechanical pencil, and then you will find that little pin which sits on the end of the eraser extremely handy. I discovered this while being extremely rough and cruel with my pencil. I just decided to keep on applying more and more force, and yeah, that's what happened. The little metal feed just retracted completely back into the pencil. There was tiny bits of broken lead in there, in the metal end of the pencil, so I had to unscrew the end and clean the tube out with the wire, and Anyway, back to my moronic past self. Okay, goodbye. The automatic lead feeding system, when I first started, I was a bit concerned that it might, not perform perfectly. I might have to say, oh, the lead isn't coming out how much I wanted it to. Oh no, I'll have to go back here and press the back of the pencil like some kind of caveman again. But no, it performed very well. I was very happy with it. It never got in the way of drawing or affected the performance of the pen in any way, except in a very kind of narrow circumstance where probably happened only less than 5% of the time. If I try to do the very lightest shading, no, it's working perfectly. Okay, righto. Anyway, just believe me here. If I was doing some very, very light shading, sometimes the minuscule amount of pressure you're actually applying onto the paper isn't enough to activate the automatic lead sleeve, lead pusher thing. So no lead comes out and you just end up, oh, it's working now. I just got to hold it on a sharp angle. That's what the problem is. So you just end up rubbing the lead sleeve on the paper and nothing is happening. Going, oh, what's going on here? Why isn't it working? I find to solve this, I just give it a quick kind of poke at the paper, and then it works perfectly fine. Or you can poke your fingertip, not too sharp though, because if you poke your fingertip too hard, to get a tiny, minuscule amount of lead out and activate that automatic lead feeding thing, you'll end up pushing the ultra sharp graphite inside of your finger, which would be disastrous because then too much graphite would come out and it's a pain to push back in. So besides that very narrow circumstance, which can easily be solved, that automatic lead feeding feature is basically flawless. I was very impressed because the other pencil I had to compare it to, which also has an automatic lead feeding, is this Faber-Castell Polymatic. And this thing is awful. I hate this thing. Oh, it makes me so angry every time I try and use it. I mean, they don't sell these for cheap, but every time I try and use this Polymatic, I just feel like I've been ripped off, even though I paid like only $7 for it or something. I don't know, I just don't like it really. Comes with a big eraser though, that's one good thing about it. Look at the size of that. Those are my first two issues, which are barely issues. My next issue though actually is a bit of a problem, and it's slightly annoying. I guess it's the only real legitimate complaint I have about this pencil. Accessing the eraser at the back. Take the eraser cap off. There's your eraser. Here is your lead length at the end of the pencil. So let's say I draw something and then I decide to erase something. Everything's fancy. The length of the lead isn't changed in any way. But if I try and put the eraser cap back on, just very gently, I don't know, no matter how hard I try, I just can't help but push lead out the end of the pencil, basically. Oh, it's a bit annoying. So let's try that again. So I take it off, softly push it back on. Oh dear, look how much is out there now. If I didn't realise and I tried to draw that, I'd just end up snapping a great big chunk of graphite off, because that's rather long. I only took the eraser cap on and off twice. Anyway, this brings me to a little tip that I'm going to tell you about pushing the lead back in. Do not use your actual fingertip. If you use your fingertip, your fingertip's got tons of grip on it. It will grip the end of the graphite, and the slightest movement you make will just break it. Even a piece of paper probably has too much grip on it. But if you use the back of your fingernail, something you should always carry around with you, your fingernail causes hardly any grip on it at all. And I can just softly push it back in. Not a problem. No broken lead. So that's just something I have to do, actually quite frequently with this pencil when I try and use the eraser. I think that happens with the eraser cap because this pencil also has another feature, which I haven't seen with other mechanical pencils, is that if you do choose, I'll call it the eraser cap, if you choose to press the back of the eraser cap on the back of the pencil, you can actually choose how much lead comes out of there by pressing either a small amount or a large amount. Because usually with most mechanical pencils, let's take this graph gear for example, you have to press it down until it clicks. If you don't hear that click or you don't feel a click, the lead at the other end of the pencil will just end up retracting back into its original position. Press down just so the lead comes out a little bit, and I release the eraser cap. It retracts back to its original position, see? But with this Pentel Orenz, I can just touch it slightly and it comes out slightly, or I can press it a lot down to the click and it still comes out. I can make it come out in very minuscule amounts if I want to. So for a mechanical pencil that comes with lead, which is like 0.2 millimeters, I think that's an excellent feature to have. Although I don't know why you would ever need it, because the automatic feeding system is close to flawless. So it's just a nice little backup, I suppose. Now let's get onto the subject of pencil leads, yeah? Here we have 0.2 HB pencil leads. What bugs me about buying 0.2 millimeter pencil leads? This little thing down here. See how many pieces it comes per packet? 10 pieces. What is going on? Let me show you something. Hang on. Let's say instead of buying 0.2 millimeter pencil leads, you want to buy 0.5. How many pieces does it come with for 0.5? It comes with 40 pieces. And the 0.2 comes with 10 pieces. And 0.3 comes with 15 pieces. I just don't understand. Is 0.2 so difficult to manufacture? They just keep on decreasing the amount of lead they give you. What's also annoying is that all of these, they cost the same. They all cost the same amount of money. I mean, you get 10 pieces of lead for the same amount of money as a 0.5 for 40 pieces. Just don't understand it. And to make matters even worse, 0.2 pencil leads, they're really hard to come by in Australia. I have to order them like overseas, and then I've got to wait for ages, or some obscure online seller maybe in Australia sells them, but I can't go down to a shop anywhere in Australia and find 0.2 millimeter pencil leads. I've got to buy basically 10 pencil leads for $5 each. 50 cents a pencil lead. It's not very good value. I can find 0.3 in an Australian shop, but never 0.2, so it gives me, nightmare situations where this is the only pencil I have because I ran away from a burning house and I just happened to grab this one, and then I can't find any pencil leads, and then I'm trapped in a world where I can't use my favourite mechanical pencil, and, anyway. So it's a delusion I must fight with. I'm starting to wonder whether a 0.3 millimeter version would have been better, because then I'd have more of a common thickness to buy, a thickness which other manufacturers also make. And I can't really tell the difference between 0.3 and 0.2 most of the time. I've already got a few 0.3 millimeter pencils, and they are vaguely thicker, to be honest. I don't know, 0.2 millimeters just seems like you're chasing after a specification which on paper sounds a lot better, but it has no practical value. I mean, you can still get a shocking amount of detail with the 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil, can't you? Yes. Yes, even though when you compare 0.5 to 0.2, as you're looking at the thickness of the actual leads and not by the thickness of the lines they make, it's like comparing a mechanical pencil to a regular pencil, actually. The 0.5 looks so fat, but it can still achieve a very good amount of detail. I think there's a reason why 0.5 millimeters has essentially become the most popular lead thickness. It's not too difficult to manufacture. You can achieve very good amounts of detail with it. It's a lot easier to manufacture a pencil that can hold it, so it doesn't break as easy. Yeah, I just can't work out what purpose 0.2 has in the world. It's like a lead thickness designed for someone who basically wants to show off how small they can draw, or write. Let's say you were to make an art piece with a 0.5 millimeter pencil, okay? People would stand back, they'd look at it at its entirety, and when you're standing back even just a meter away from something, 0.5 millimeters is an excellent resolution, But 0.2? Well, would they have to stand up with a magnifying glass in front of it to actually appreciate its detail that you were able to push into it with a tiny lead thickness? Who's going to do that? I can't see the purpose of it, to be honest. I suppose it's good for making tiny notes in a little diary or sketchbook, in a small sketchbook. Actually, I do find the smaller a piece of paper is, the finer the detail I want to put into that piece of paper. It's like I always want the same amount of detail, no matter what piece of paper I'm drawing on. Anyway, I am starting to ramble now. And if you don't want a 0.2, don't worry, you can buy other sizes as well. I think you can buy a 0.3, yes. You can also buy, as I've seen in a announcement from only a year ago, I think, Pentel released a 0.5 millimeter version. If you want every feature that this pencil has, its grip, its auto-feeding mechanism, its looks, although it has no lead hardness indicator. I forgot to mention that. No lead hardness indicator, Yeah, but if you want it in a more practical lead size, you can buy it in 0.5 millimeters now, so that's good news. Okay, well, I'll see you later. Hope you enjoyed this review. I think I might do some more drawing with it now, because I like it so much. And have a nice day. Okay, goodbye. Farewell. You're a good pencil. Yes, you are. In fact, you're such a good pencil, I'm going to feed you. For being so good. Okay. How would you like a whole packet of lead? Out you come. Okay, come on. Yum, yum, yum. Come on. Oops. Oh no. What's happened? Well, that was disastrous. What did I just do? Oh no. That did not go to plan. Okay, P.S. I found one other problem with it. You can accidentally pour lead in between the actual lead holding tube and the body of the pen, which of course won't go anywhere. That's a very bad thing. So just pick up the lead and put them in one by one. Okay. Now it's hard to pick up the lead without breaking it. Oh, I just broke one. Oh, it's 50 cents each lead. It hurts too much. It's like I paid 50 cents for a hard human hair. Why does this have to be so difficult? Can I pick them up with my kneadable eraser maybe? Oh yes, that's the ticket. These leads are so fine, I can't even feel them when I pick them up. Ridiculous.